Hey guys, so we got a little bit of a different kind of video today. A lot of people ask me if it's a good idea to drive a certain type of car daily. So yeah, because for some reason, once you replace a carburetor, everyone thinks you're a mechanic, so then they just start asking you questions. So basically, it kind of inspired me to try to start a little mini series about, should you daily drive it? And I figured what better to start off than with my own Skylark, because I get a lot of questions about whether it's a great idea or not to drive that thing every single day. My wallet hates me. Before we start the video, just a couple things. The Hot Rudder series, the Hot Rudder series, it's gonna be put on hold for a little bit because I gotta go back to college. I gotta leave my car back home, and yeah, I basically can't work on my car 100 miles away. So yeah, it's gonna be put on hold for a little bit, but it's not gonna be stopped. Definitely once I get the money for more parts and I come home for a weekend, I'll definitely get a little bit of work in. Plus, you saw my grandfather, he owns a lot of different classic cars, and I thought it'd be cool to maybe, kind of record me and him building some stuff together. So get a few more interesting cars and hot rodders, not just my Buick. Second thing I wanted to address, what kind of videos do you guys want to see? I'm going off to college, I'm not gonna be able to record my regular cars all day. So I was wondering what kind of car videos did you want to see? I was thinking of doing like some reactions to the new C8 Corvette, the new Supra, talking about like different brands and that kind of stuff. So yeah, just leave down in the comments down there exactly what you really want to see. So basically how this is going to work, we're going to split up into 5 different categories. One is reliability. Second is DIY. Third is cost of parts. 4 is enjoyment. And 5 is gas mileage. So it's going to go points from 1 to 50. 0 being cannot be driven at all. And 50 being you should drive this every day. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Everyone should have this car. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. My car is not reliable at all, and this goes for pretty much any muscle car. And this is from just a year. I've spent a lot of time fixing it. Let's see, what did I have to do? I had to do 1, the carburetor. 2, the intake manifold. 3, new tire because I had a blowout. 4, distributor. 5, new oil pump. 6, I had to deal with constantly leaking fluids just because the pipes are old. And last but not least, body work. But that's kind of a one-time kind of fix. That's 7 jobs in just a year of owning it. 7 pretty big jobs too. If you don't have the wallet for it, or if you don't have the time to kind of learn how to do that kind of stuff, that's probably going to be a mark against reliability for these kind of cars. If you don't have the time to learn how to do this kind of stuff your own, or if you don't have the money to have someone do it, I probably wouldn't recommend getting a car like this. So on a score out of 10, give it a 3 on reliability. Next up is DIY. So DIY, basically, that means how easy is the car to work on in your own driveway. This car is actually really easy to work on in the driveway. However, that's due to a few different variables that a lot of people won't have access to. 1, the car was kept up pretty well, and 2, it had an engine swap a while back to a Chevy 350 versus a Buick 350. For those of you who don't know, a Chevy 350 is a lot different from a Buick 350. Basically, the only things they have in common is basically that they're 350 cubic inches. That's about it. Everything else is completely different. However, at the end of the day, it's still a very easy block to work on. These, back in the day, this is before computers and ECUs and stuff like that, and these blocks were really easy to work on. That's why, one of the reasons why I got this car, because I knew that an old car like this isn't gonna have all the computer mumbo jumbo that a lot of people freak out over. There's some wires here and there, and sure, because this car is so old, there's a lot of like wiring problems. I think I got a little bat in the cave. But yeah, working on the car is actually fairly straightforward. There's tons of guides online. All the things are really easy to figure out. They wouldn't make it complicated back in those days. They just made it very straightforward. There's the ignition key, there's the ignition wire that goes to the battery, and there's the engine starter. That's about it. Now, these new cars, you gotta worry about like fuel injection, programming the fuel injection, all that kind of stuff. But this car, you tune the carburetor and just dump in fuel. That said, carburetor is simultaneously one of the easiest jobs to learn, but also one of the hardest jobs to learn. Like, it's easy to put on, and usually they're factory tuned right away. But on the other hand, carburetor takes a lot of experience to learn how to tune right. I still don't know how to tune the carburetor right at all. And I'm still trying to learn, but it's gonna take me a while because it's just so old and not a lot of people know how to do it anymore. For DIY, I'd give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. So parts for this car, it's kind of a toss-up kind of thing, because for my car, parts are really cheap because it has the engine swapped out to a, my hand's not in. My engine has been swapped out with a very common Chevy 350, which is the engine literally every mechanic's probably worked on. On the other hand, most of these Buicks are going to come with a classic Buick motor, and you can tell that because the distributor will be in the front. And those parts for the Buick motors are really hard to find because, you know, they just didn't catch on like the Chevy motors did or anything like that. And, you know, parts of them are hard to find. Upgrades for them are especially hard to find. I'm pretty sure unless you have a deep pocket, you're not going to find any parts in your price range, especially if you're around my age. That combined with the fact that, going back to the reliability, these parts, they're all going to wear out. Since they're old, a lot of them are going to wear out fast, like around the time you get them. For cost of parts, in the first year, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 10. But however, once you get all that stuff fixed for the first time, it's going to last you a long time as long as you do it right. So as far as cost of parts for a Buick Skylark, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Two out of 10. I'm not even joking, I get probably 10 miles per gallon. That's without any of like the crazy upgrades that I'm planning to do to it. I practically live at the gas station. It's the second home. Now, last but not least, this is probably one of the most important parts of a car for any of us car guys. The last thing is enjoyment. Now, this car, I honestly find it extremely enjoyable to work on and, you know, to drive around. When the engine's working, the engine's just, it sounds amazing. It's just blasting through and it's loud, honestly. The car itself, it handles actually really well. However, that's because the guy before me put in some aftermarket coilovers. Give him some Spectre ones, I don't know exactly which ones. Yeah, overall, it's a fun car to drive. When you always have people looking at you, you always have old men looking at you, remembering cars of their days. You always remember the older women, remember being taken out on dates in those cars. Not sexist, those are the times. You always have little kids that are super excited to see your car. I remember one time, this little boy, he was crossing the street, you know, and all of a sudden he starts pulling on his mom's hand and he points to my car and I hear the little kid yell, "He's got a Hot Wheel!" And it was just, I gave him a super loud rev of the engine. I'm glad there were no cops around. I gave him a super loud rev of the engine. He was super excited going away. The mom looked ticked off because that was loud, and I know she didn't appreciate that. And I know, kids' mom, if you're out there, your son just fell in love with a muscle car, and there's not much you can do about it at this point. But yeah, part of just the community's respect for a car like that, that adds to the enjoyment 1,000-fold. The car's fun to drive, the car's loud, the car handles pretty well, and one of the best things is you can do a burnout, you can do a donut, and you can do a peel out whenever you want. You know, there's no traction control, there's no computer telling you not to do that kind of stuff. It's you, the engine, and the road. So for enjoyment, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. All right, the way the scoring works is it's out of 50. You get 10 for reliability, 10 for DIY, 10 for cost of parts, 10 for gas mileage, and 10 for enjoyment. So let's see what the Skylark got while I try to do some basic math that I haven't done since 2nd grade. It's gonna take me a long time to do this math problem. So 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 10, that's 19. 8.5 plus 6. Wait, 2. Let me get a calculator. I haven't done math since school went out for the summer, and I don't intend to until, you know, school starts up in a couple weeks. So, the score that the 1970 Buick Skylark gets in terms of daily drivability is 30.5. That's only a little bit higher than an F. I think it actually is an F. Hang on. 30.5. D minus. That's slightly better. But yeah, in terms of should you daily drive a classic car, it's a D minus. It's not a car that you should drive every day. However, if you've got the guts to do it, or if you got the money to do it, I'd highly recommend it. I'm definitely in the guts category because I'm broke. If you have the time to figure it out, or if you have the money to get it fixed for you, I would definitely recommend driving these every single day. You know, it's a rewarding experience, and everyone loves to see a classic muscle car, except for people driving a Prius, because usually they're no fun.
And you come up here with your gas guzzling piece of
I should totally do a video on a Prius. So yeah, all in all, you probably shouldn't daily drive a classic muscle car. However, is that gonna stop me? Absolutely not. I don't listen to reason. So yeah, that's about the end of the video. I hope you guys kind of enjoy it. I definitely enjoy making these videos. Definitely spread the word to any of your friends you think that'll enjoy cars. You know, I wanna you know, I'm gonna keep making these videos anyway because I have nothing better to do. But yeah, I'd love to get the name spread around, or if any of you guys wanna message me or contact me, give me some video ideas, my Instagram is right here, you know, where I got headroom. So yeah, that about wraps it up. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.